What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Florida TRD. Today I'm going to be bringing you the ARB Diff Breather mod. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for that video since Clay and I did his next mod video. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I'm also going to show you the electronic diff lock actuator breather as well. So stay tuned and we'll go by the step-by-step process. Thanks. Alright guys, so this is what the end install is going to look like. So I have the manifold mounted in the spare tool location. You can still keep the jack in there. As far as the tools, all I did was move them to the opposite side, the little storage cargo area. Alright, so now I'm going to show you where the hose is going to come up through. This is kind of hard to see, so I'm going to do my best. Okay, so you can see the hose. The line runs down through, and then you see that little grommet down there? There we go, that's better lighting. That little grommet down there is what you're going to puncture and then run the hose out of. So what we're going to do is, the first thing we're going to do is run the line for that, and then we'll run the line for the actuator. So that way you have the lines ran, and then all you have to do is hook them up here, and then you can trim the excess down at the bottom and make install a little bit easier. So we'll go ahead and do that now, and I'll show you the process for that. Alright, so something you guys are going to need to do this is this right here, which all this is a metal clothes hanger, a couple of them actually, that I've unwound and then hooked together. This is going to make passing this hose super easy because you can see the grommet, but when you drop down to the ground like we're about to, you can't see where this thing goes out at all. So you're going to have to fish this through the body up top and then pass it through, and then you'll be able to see where it comes out at the body, and then you'll attach your hose and then pull it up and through. Another thing you're going to need for the diff lock actuator is hose. You can see this is 5/32. That's what you're going to need for an extension on the diff lock actuator hose. I did it was quite a bit of research to find this. I couldn't find this information anywhere online, so what I had to do is went to my local auto parts store, took the breather off in the parking lot, and then walked in there and started fitting it, and this is the size hose that it fits on. So you'll need that. You can see I got quite a bit of it, so it's always better to have extra than not enough. Alright, so the next thing you're going to need to do is remove this trim piece right here. So there's going to be 4 10mm, I believe. Actually make that 5. So 4 on this front side, and then there's going to be a royal pain in the ass clip that's hidden right here, and then a 10 mil on the back side here that you're gonna want to take off. You don't have to take that trim piece off 100%, but it does make the install easier. So you can see this is the ARB diff line. It runs obviously over on the other side of the frame and then over towards the differential, which we're going to get to in a second. But that's what I mean, is it just travels up into the abyss, so you can't really see where it goes without using that hanger method or tape fish or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that now. Alright, so I've passed the hanger down through the body. Let me see if I can get the light in a better spot so you guys can see. See how it passes right down through, just like that. And then I put the line for the diff lock actuator. I just slipped it right over the hanger. Little blue painter's tape so it doesn't make the line all sticky, and she'll pass right up through. So all I do is, while I'm at the bottom, kind of guide it in the right direction. Move my line out of the way. And this is all you got to do. Sorry, I decided to bring the light up here because that video was looking like crap. So just nice and easy. Take your time fishing it up and through the spot. And if you feel it start to get hung up on anything, just stop and feel your way down there to clear the spot out. Which there's already I've already ran the diff breather hose before, so it kind of gets in the way. But as long as you take your time. Go there. Sorry guys, needed 2 hands for that one. Alright, so then you just pass her up and through, and voila. So one thing to note is, if you look at how I tape that, I know it kind of got a little squished on the way out, but I did my best to make it smooth. If you make it to where it has a big bump at the leading edge, it's more likely to snag on stuff. So if you use a little extra tape and kind of smooth that transition out, it'll actually go through a lot easier. All right guys, I'll apologize now. I'm doing my best to get this video with as much coverage as possible. That's why I'm using a GoPro, so I can jam it up in here so you guys can see. So I apologize about all the movement and lighting errors and all that crap. But now you can see we are under the truck. So heading over here, we have our ARB Diff hard plastic line that comes with the kit. And then we have the vacuum / washer line that I'm about to run for the diff lock breather. And all I'm going to do is follow these along the exact same path, because I already went through all the work of passing that through. It goes on the other side of the frame. Get a little light over here, and boom, you can see I just coupled it right with the fuel filler neck. Oop, there we go. So then I just followed that the whole way, and then you'll see that wire loom over there to the right of the fuel filler neck. That is the wire loom that I covered the diff line with. Sorry, the diff breather line with. So now back to the top side of the differential. Once again, let me get my lighting correct here. So that right there, that is the fitting that comes with the ARB kit. So with your vehicle that doesn't have that, you're gonna have a breather that's gonna look like this. And I'm gonna use the lock actuator as an example. That guy, that's what it's gonna look like. That's gonna be bolted into there. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is clean that area very well. So whether you toothbrush it or just use your finger to clean it, I use a toothbrush and then make sure that area is very clear, because when you start ratcheting and bolting and doing all that stuff, you will knock sand all over the place. Now if your rig is completely clean, still do it. Asphalt queens still get dirty. So do that, and then what you'll want to do is that fitting you'll want to wrap in Teflon tape so it seals very well. And then all you'll do is remove the old fitting, bolt the new one in. Sorry, my backpack keeps cutting out, so I can't see what the hell I'm looking at. So yeah, once you thread that in, then that part is done. And then all you'll have to do is run your line like I did, all the way over, and then drop it right in. One thing to note is make sure you do this with the driver's side jacked all the way up. Since that is on technically the driver's side of the vehicle, you'll want the driver's side at maximum droop, so make sure that tire is off the ground. We do that because when the axle droops, we're going to want it to be at its maximum droop point so we don't have tension on that line. You can see this is my line right here. I've got plenty of slack in it. This is at its normal ride height. So obviously when I go through compression, it'll compress up in there, but it won't bind on anything, or at least it shouldn't. Obviously I'm not hanging out underneath here, but everything looks like it's good, but it's got plenty of slack, so I shouldn't have any issues there. All right guys, so real quick, you'll see this little black fitting right up here. And what that is that's the extension for the diff lock actuator. So what you do is, I got this little guy right here that attaches to it and then secures right here. What you do is if you pull this out just a little bit, you can get your fingers on there to grip it, and then take that vacuum line extension off, and then you'll be able to just run this right to that, and then zip tie it secured in place, and you shouldn't have any issues at all. And then you won't have to worry about running this all the way up and over and then down here and doing all that, when Toyota's already done a good job of putting it in a wire loom and everything else. All right, so matched my line up there. Got plenty of slack, so we're good there. I just basically followed my ARB line. And then you can see I made my attachment up to the factory line. That's it. Cakewalk, guys. And then after you do all that and you secure your lines at the bottom at the differential and secure your line there, we're gonna head up top, trim and do all the stuff we need to do there to make that perfect, and you are done. All right, so included in the kit is gonna be self-tapping screws. You can see I just used the bracket that secures the toolkit to the tool area. All you have to do is, I recommend running a pilot hole, and then once you run that pilot hole, then you can go ahead and run the self-tapper in there. Their self-tappers are not very aggressive, so that's why I recommend the pilot hole. But once you do that, then all you have to do is take your hard line and then cut it to fit, and then that's it. As you can see, I've only loaded the manifold with one fitting and then put the block offs for the other 3. Reason for that is like I said, Toyota did a good job with the other ones. The front diff, the transfer case, and the transmission all run up the backside of the engine up pretty high. If you wanted to go all out, you could run those lines all the way back here if you wanted to. It's up to you guys, but I have not done that because I just don't cross that deep of water. But if I ever found myself like, hey, there's a potential I may be in that situation, I would definitely do that mod. So, like I said, after you do that, then you trim that one piece. After you get done with that, then we're going to trim this guy, which is for the lock actuator, and we'll go ahead and secure that, and we'll be done. When you are trimming that rubber grommet that's all the way down at the bottom, you do have to put like an X pattern or something into it to allow these 2 lines to pass through it. Be careful, because it is easy to cut too much, which I have now done on mine, because I was using a razor knife and I was attempting to cut it smoothly, and I took one of the blades off of it, clipped the blade off of it, and started with a new one, and then it ran through it like there was no tomorrow. So good news is part number is still very legible, so I'm gonna go ahead and just order another one of those, and in the meantime I'll have that part in a day or two. In the meantime, I can just run it without. But just be careful. I want to give you guys that side note so you guys don't do the stupidity that I just did and cut it a bit too far, which accidents happen, especially when you're trying to cut rubber like that, and then I go from a dull blade to a razor sharp blade, and then there you go. I'm stupid. What can I say? There you go, guys. That's it. So ran the line for the diff breather into the ARB manifold, and then my other line is just running up right along next to it. Super easy install. As you can see, it's a cakewalk. For the breather, before I get off track, all you're going to do with that breather is take it off of the line that you took off of that subframe assembly. Sorry, forgot where I put it. So you're just going to take that line off, keep it with you up into the cab, and then you take the breather off of it and you just stick it on the end of there, and then I just zip tied it up there. You could route it either way that you want, but the way that I see it is no one's ever going to be in here, and once I replace my rear bumper and acquire a good storage location for a high lift, that's going to go away as well. So this is pretty much just going to be a dead compartment. Guess I could put some Fruit Loops or something in there. It'd be pretty cool. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, post it up in the comments. I hope I covered everything. If you guys have any questions, like I said, just put it in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. It's kind of difficult to cover every single detail, but just be sure that you guys are being very clean about when you remove the fitting down on the differential, because if you've been wheeling at all, and even like I said, some asphalt queens too are just covered in dirt around that area. So make sure you're very clean around there. Make sure you use Teflon tape to seal it up good, so you don't have to worry about any type of intrusion or leaks, even though it's not like it's an insanely pressurized area or anything like that, but better to be safe than sorry. Yeah, that's pretty much that. Make sure that when you go to install this, I always like to give it a couple good turns and whatnot, just to make sure that there's no sand or anything in there, because it can clog up. Once again, even on asphalt queens, I've seen where these things get clogged on the factory ones and then blowout seals. So just be aware of that, and you shouldn't have any issues after you do this. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, post it up in the comments. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. Thanks.